Also, one more point. The entire focus, the intention basically of this particular course, we always talk about gender. So when in real situations of policy making or understanding a particular problem, how would we see the gendered issues, and how would we translate that into policy processes as the focus of this particular course, to demonstrate gender as a cross-cutting theme and an analytical lens to examine urban processes. That is the focus central theme of this particular course. And so now you can come up with your questions, queries, comments, and then we can have a conversation. Do you have anything? I don't hear anything from anyone, without which interaction won't take place. Otherwise, it's a monologue from my side. Or you can write your question. If that's what you prefer, I will respond. Is there anything? Any questions, comments? No? Any doubts regarding the exam questions, or further learning based on this particular course, what you can do or whatever? No? Can cultural practices also become a reason for gender exclusivity in urban spaces? Of course, certain cultural practices, for instance, in one of the lectures, the transgender community and sexual minorities question, that's one of the lectures, marginalization of sexual minorities, in which the author talks about how certain cultural practices are including and excluding in urban spaces. But by and large, exclusion, because, for instance, transgender community is being treated with more respect, relative terms, in certain spaces. Tamil Nadu particularly, of course, yes. As a result, you have seen members of the community, transgender persons, moving from Kerala to Tamil Nadu, or Bangalore also is a place where they are being included to a certain extent. So certain places have its own prejudices and exclusion, and that will result in their migration, movement to other locations. This is an example. And of course, cultural practice is a reason for gender exclusivity. And several cultural practices, for instance, celebrations, for instance, the religious celebrations practices, certain groups are excluded and certain other groups are included. In Kerala, if you look at the Sabrimala temple entry row, you are aware of this protest and all that, because women of menstruating age are not allowed to. That's the custom and practice. So it's which is against the constitution, and that's the reason Supreme Court ordered allowing women to enter the shrine. So many cultural practices are including, excluding women. In certain other practices, only women, certain religious practices. So including and excluding both in rural and in urban spaces. Any other questions? No? And then the point basically is, well, if that exclusion takes place, what does it mean to their identity, religiosity, livelihood, human rights, so on and so forth? That's where the research comes in. You need to look at its implications, basically, from certain places that's affecting their livelihood in certain ways, so on and so forth. So analytically, when you understand the exclusion, you need to take it further in terms of what are its implications, basically. Other questions? Are you okay with this response, or do you have anything else to add? Can you write in the chat? Okay, okay. Thank you. Other questions? So this particular course, if you look at, it's structured differently in the sense that it's not typical lectures. It is half an hour lecture, then a video story, then a summary slide of what has been covered both in the lecture and the video story. So this is a different format. And the intention, the expectation basically is that the video stories will help you to understand the lecture correctly, completely. So if you can comment on that, whether the video stories are interesting or not, would be helpful. Can any of you write about or tell about the video stories? Did you watch them? Can you say anything? Yes, the videos are quite helpful. I watched a video on labor market and it made me realize that it's very difficult for women to earn in labor markets in a society. Yeah, the work participation rates are relatively low in India compared to other countries, if you look at. And even within the country, there are significant regional variations. Very low work participation in Bihar and some of the southern states, so on and so forth. But then the problem basically increasing, they call it as informalization, meaning there is no contract, written contract, or other benefits. They call it as entitlements to labor. So it's very difficult and low wages and very poor working conditions. This is informal labor market. Formal sector, it is over time shrinking. Government jobs and all that, it's not increasing the number of jobs. It's reducing significantly. And whereas the informal sector, as you said, you're right, very difficult and very poor working conditions, low wages. And even within the informal sector, if you look at, there is a significant amount of wage disparity. Men are getting a particular wage and women are getting much lower than what men are getting. So in India, we have currently periodic labor force survey in which we collect information on wages and categories of labor. So that's the data source we use primarily. There are a few other CMIA and few other data sources as well. But when you actually see the kind of work, it's quite you are able to connect. Any other points or questions or queries or comments? Anybody? Some of you in the chat box asked actually that you need subtitles for the lectures. As I understand, NPTEL team is working on it. They will make it available soon, I guess. Anything else? Maybe I can also briefly tell you about the whole course and the process. The process of this particular course production is very different because it's been funded by DAD and SMUS program of Technical University of Berlin. So the particular program basically was for scholars from Global South. So we all assembled in 2023 in Berlin, from India, from Brazil, from South Africa, Namibia, Peru, several countries, around 40 countries. And then we were planning a large project that looks at urbanization processes in the global south. So this whole idea came up. Why don't we actually produce learning material that has component on urban processes so the students can actually use it, practitioners can use it, and then from there we will think about more in-depth understanding of the urban processes, and then we will think about the future research plan. So that's how it started. Several MOOC online courses as a result we produced. This is one of them. And 2, 3 IITs are also involved other than IIT Madras. IIT Roper and IIT Kharagpur, two other professors also produced similar kind of online courses. And after that, we are also into, so there, the discussion basically was this material is being, it's not a typical kind of classroom learning in which lecturing and exams and rather the video component we decided to include. And then fortunately the DAD German agency for collaboration, academic exchange provided financial support, and we produced the videos, 10 of them. So that's why this particular course is different from the lectures. And then the difficulty basically was we have given each of the speakers an outline of the course structure, but some of them, as you know, are very well-known people. One is a minister, ex-minister, so who is also a professor. You must have watched the lecture, Professor Thomas Isaacs, Kerala's ex-finance minister. So even though we gave them the course outline, they did not comply with it, some of them, because they have the expertise in their own field, and then it's a free-flowing kind of a conversation. That's the reason we have come up with the PowerPoint slide summaries, so that at least covering some of the important points of the lecture, and we added few additional points as well, and provided you a summary of both lectures and the video story after adding a couple of points. So those summary slides, highlights, course highlights, summary PPT has several points. Did you see any of those PPTs, PowerPoint slides provided after each of the video story? Yes or no? Can you just write? Yes. Okay. So that's the intention, that's the plan. If you have any other questions, please ask. Or any comments, any suggestions. No? On the whole, was it helpful, useful? Or any other topic you think should have been there, which I omitted? Is there anything like that? No? In that case, maybe we will close if you don't have, but you can write to me if you have additional questions, my email, and or send it as a question in the chat room, or write an email, whatever. I will respond to them. Is that okay?